Oh, we're live. What's going on, guys? What's going on, fam? Happy freaking Saturday. Glad you guys are here. Man, today is going to be an action-packed day. Totally booked. What are you guys up to? As you guys are coming in here, show me, tell me, put in the comments. What are you guys up to? What do you guys have going on today? Saturday is one of those days where especially for me coming out of the military. Remember when I was just getting ready to make that transition a few years ago and coming out of the military, it's really easy to take that same W-2 mentality, take that same W-2 mindset and think, hey, thank goodness it's Friday. Thank goodness it's Saturday. You get to sleep in, you get to chill, you get to chillax, man. And it's funny how many people I've talked to, so many entrepreneurs that they say they want the thing. They say that they want to accomplish this and achieve that and do all these things, but their actions completely stay otherwise. Their actions are, well, it's Saturday, so I'm going to take the day off. Freddie Rivas, what's going on, baby? What's going on, my man? I'm working on reaching out and looking for opportunities. Love that, bro. I love that for you. That's actually kind of what I wanted to talk a little bit about today with you guys. Looking for some opportunities, getting really intentional, getting honed in. It's Saturday. It is Saturday. How many people do you guys know that like say they want it? They say they want to do the thing, but then their actions don't reflect them actually doing the thing. What's going on, fam? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you, Marianne. Bill, how are you, buddy? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. See, this right here speaks volumes to who you guys are. No one's taking the day off. Brandon, what up, big dog? B-Ran. Dude, me and Brandon have a funny video floating around. Maybe we ought to share it. Let me know if you guys want to see it. Go shoot me a DM if you want to see it. I'll send it to you. We did this funny bit when we were both in the military and stationed together, and it was kind of fun. What's going on, guys? Thank you guys for being here. But it truly speaks volumes to you guys being here. Just what your intention is, what it is you're trying to do, who you're trying to do it with. You guys are all active in the comments. Everybody's doing, networking, saying hello, welcoming. This is awesome. This is great. This is exactly what you guys should be doing. I know so many people who say they want to be an entrepreneur, say they want to make a lot of money, but then their actions speak otherwise. Another way of saying that is they're more curious than actually committed. And it's really interesting because from my perspective and the things that I've gone through, I would probably say one of the best qualities an entrepreneur can have is just being hungry. Just being hungry. Because if you are hungry, there's a plethora of things that become available to you just as a byproduct of you having that trait and that quality of being hungry. When we talk about being resourceful, my goodness, you guys have all heard Chris and I talk about who, not how. Now, if you guys haven't, oh my gosh, please, I beg you, stop what you're doing right now and go get that book called Who, Not How. Chris and I built our entire foundation for our business from the premise and the words on the pages inside of that book. Definitely go get that. The concept is really simple, though. I still encourage everyone in here to read it. The concept is what happens with most entrepreneurs is when they have a bottleneck or something that they need to happen in their business, their first inclination is to try to learn that skill. And then they got to take all this time. It could be a month, could be 2 months, could be 3 months, could be 6 months, could be longer to learn this new thing. So once they know it, then they can bring somebody else into their business and then they can teach them that thing. Now, I will be the first to say, I am guilty of exactly that same thing. But here's what you should not do. You should definitely not do that. If any of you guys are thinking, hey, you know what? That's exactly what I do. Or doesn't that make sense? Isn't that like the logical thing to do? When something needs to get done, obviously me being the business owner, like I need to go do it. I need to go learn this thing. And then I can go bring somebody else into my business and I can teach them that thing. Au contraire. What the whole who not how premise is, when you have bottlenecks, when you have things that come up in your business that you need done, then you just go find the people that are already good at doing that thing. And you bring them into your business and you just let them go. You step out of their way, you get out of their way, and you let them go. And what's really interesting is when you can do that, when you can go find people that are good at the thing that you want to be doing. There's a guy, one of my all-time favorite mentors. Maybe you guys have heard of him. His name is Henry Ford. Now, what was really cool about Henry Ford is he was a master at Who Not How. He was a freaking genius when it comes to Who Not How. And I remember one time there was a reporter. I remember reading this, obviously. Act like I remember it. I don't remember this actually happening live, guys, but I remember reading about it. And a reporter came up and asked him, she said, Henry, how many feet are in a mile? And he says, I don't know. But I can find a man who does. And I just thought that was so stinking powerful because it really does exemplify how you need to be thinking in terms of building a business, how you need to be thinking in terms of being a leader. And when you have grit, when you have hunger, when you are willing to do anything and everything it takes to accomplish what it is that you're after, when you're willing to do that, when you have that trait, you will become a resourceful AF individual. Because the things that you tolerate, the things that you hold yourself accountable, like all these things, the things that you do, you wake up when somebody says, "Hey, it's Saturday." Your first thought process isn't, "Oh, it's the weekend." Your first thought process is, "Cool, how many people can I jump in and connect with today? How many more opportunities can I create?" I mean, just looking at the chat, I mean, you guys are doing exactly what you should be doing. Jay-Z, what up, dog? We're wearing the same shirt today. I think my wife got this from Old Navy, bro. Pansy, what's going on, friend? Ken Wilson. So this is it. When you wake up, when you have this just a hunger and a drive, and you're willing to do anything and everything it takes to achieve your goals and to build that skill and to get better, you become a resourceful individual. And that's cool because being resourceful is probably it doesn't take money to make money. Okay? It takes resources. So when you can be a person who has the ability to pool resources together, that is the fastest and quickest way to make money. Understanding who, not how, when you understand what that concept is, what that premise is, and how to execute it with absolute intention. Got a 3-year-old at my door. Yeah, baby. Oh, well, tell her daddy said. I don't know if you guys have kids at all. My 3-year-old bangs at the door. She tells me something. And it's something about her siblings. And it doesn't matter what I say. I can tell her anything, and it's not going to appease her. I can say, "Oh, we'll go do this, go try this, go play outside, go whatever." And none of that works. But then as soon as I say, "Oh, well, just tell Emery," who's her older sister, "just tell Emery that daddy said." And she's like, and her attitude completely, she could be like whining and crying. And as soon as I say, "Oh, well, just tell her daddy said," and she's like, "Okay." And then she runs. Oh my gosh. Being a parent is the best thing in the world, by the way. Freaking love it. Angel Miller, what's going on, my good friend? I love Angel Miller. Angel has a wonderful podcast coming out all about operations. So if you guys are wanting to learn more about how to build systems and operations and things inside of your business, make sure you guys stay tuned for that. We'll have to have her on and kind of unleash this. I'm really excited for it. But that's it, guys. Being resourceful, being a person who has the ability to pool resources, that's the stuff that it takes to make money. It doesn't take money to make money. It takes resources. So all of this to say, this is my long-winded way of saying thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for waking up and jumping in here and being active in the comments, connecting with intention. That's kind of one of the things I wanted to talk about today. If there's anybody in here, let me know in the comments. Is there anybody in here? This is stuff that I teach every single Saturday. I have a Zoom at 4 p.m. Eastern time that I do. Some of you guys know it, and it's all about teaching how to be resourceful. It's all about teaching how to leverage the relationships around you and how to execute with absolute intention. And I want to know for everybody who's here right now, everybody in the chat, put a 1 in the chat if you are still looking for your first deal. Or put a 1 in the chat if you're trying to figure out how to gain a little bit more momentum. Maybe you've done a deal or two, and then maybe it's been dry for a little bit. Put a 1 in the chat if either one of those things applies to you guys. Let's get really intentional here. Alan, okay, Pansy. All right, cool, guys. Cool. This is good. I want to go over Marianne. Okay. Holy moly me, she says. Freddie Rivas. Okay. Cool. This is great, guys. This is awesome. So this is what I want to go over today. Bill. All right. Good. Okay. I wanted to make sure, do you guys have your notepad out? Make sure you guys have a notepad, something to write down with. Once I understood this, once I understood everything that I've shared with you guys so far, that's when everything started taking off for me. Bill says, been a while. Okay. Get a notepad. Well, I want to go over with you guys. I want to share something with you. I want to share with you a thought. I want to share with you guys. Marianne says, not sure what happened, but I have no volume. Okay. Here's what I want you guys to do. Here's what I want to share with you guys. When we're talking about grit, when we're talking about hunger, when we're talking about being a person of resource, you can't be a resource if you don't know how to help yourself, if you don't know what you're good at. So that's really where this whole thing starts, is understanding yourself. And that's so stinking important to understand yourself, because that's the path to least resistance. That is the key to getting off this hamster wheel. When you understand yourself, my gosh, the world is yours. The problem that most entrepreneurs have is they take a W-2 mindset and they execute on that same W-2 mindset within their business and then wonder why things are not working. So it's not working harder. Have you guys ever gone the wrong way up an escalator before? I used to do that all the time as a kid. Best thing in the world. Well, fortunately for me as a kid, I had a little more energy, and it was a game. I had no problem going up and down it. But what if the escalator was half a mile long? What if it was a mile long? What if it was a couple miles long? Is really working harder to get to the top of that escalator going the opposite direction. It's going down while you're trying to go up that escalator. Simply working harder, is that the best way to get from where you are to where you're trying to go? No, it's not. But so many people take that same W-2 mentality and literally apply it to their business. They're just like, I just got to work harder. I just got to work harder. I just got to work longer. I just got to do more. And while that is true to an extent, we want to apply that same line of thinking to something that's actually going to move the needle forward. And The best way to do that is to understand, number one, write this down. Number one, understand yourself, understanding who you are. What are you good at? What's cool about you? I did an exercise with my clients earlier this week that was really, really cool. Um, because entrepreneurship is lonely and it's hard and it's difficult and it's great. It's like we can all jump in here on a live and like talk and in the comments and connect and kind of do all these things. But as soon as the live is over, or you jump into a Zoom and the Zoom is over, it's just you left with your own thoughts. And sometimes, more often than not, that's lonely. And it's up to you to continue pushing the ball forward. There's nobody there that's going to tell you when to get up or what to do or when to do it or how to do it. It's up to you to figure this stuff out. And if you want to take the path of least resistance, then it's all about understanding who you are. I did this exercise with everybody. And because entrepreneurship is lonely, it's it's very easy to feel like you lack confidence. It's very easy to wake up and just be overwhelmed, maybe a little bit experiencing a little bit of analysis paralysis. Maybe you just got like all this information and it's like, man, like I have no idea what I should be focusing on today. I have no idea how to measure if what I'm doing is working or not. And it's really easy to just get caught up in that thought process. And because we all do, by the way, we all get caught up in that thought process. And because we do, it's easy to feel a surge in confidence. It's easy to feel just a lack of confidence a lot of times. And so one of the things that I had my students do this week as an exercise, I'm going to give this to you guys. I hope you guys take this and actually do something with it. But I asked them, I said, write a list of like 20 things down on a piece of paper. Like, what is cool about you? And really go all in and cherish and relish in the things that are really neat and unique to you. You could be a really badass dad. You could be a great friend. You could be a great communicator. Maybe you maybe you're really good on a dirt bike. Maybe you love to skateboard. Maybe you're a really great neighbor. Maybe you empathize and can sympathize with anybody. Maybe you are the type of person that could be friends with anybody. Maybe you have just the biggest heart in the world. Take some time, guys. Go, I promise you, like go through this exercise. Until I found out about this exercise and then I went through it myself. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't realize how big of an impact it was going to have on me. I'd never taken the time to just sit down and make a list of all the things that are just so cool about Jesse. I'd never done that before. And my gosh, I'll tell you what, after I probably took maybe 15 minutes or so to put this list together and just really think about it and just be in the moment. And I made this list about all the things that were cool about Jesse, all my gifts, all the things that I'd done, the things I had accomplished. And being able to look at that list and reflect on it, my goodness, you guys, to say that my confidence jumped up would be an understatement. It was so neat to be able to look back at that and be like, wow, I'm actually a pretty cool guy. I've done some cool stuff. Because as we know, no one's a worse critic of ourselves than ourselves. And because we're our own worst critic, it's really easy to inadvertently rob yourself of the confidence that you need to be doing or that you need to have in order to do what you should be doing. So this exercise is great for developing confidence, but it's also such a great and wonderful way to understand what you are good at. Because once you can understand what you are good at, and let me be super clear, having a gift, having a superpower, and then knowing what your avatar is like, those are two separate things here, okay? But this is where this whole thing starts. You have to understand yourself. You have to understand what's cool about you. What are your gifts? And when you can take that, then you apply it. It's like, man, what is the path of least resistance here? Michelle says, true, we are always the hardest on ourselves. Absolutely, we are. That's why this exercise is so stinking vital for you guys to practice. Try, do it. Do this exercise. Do it today. See how you guys feel. Make a list of all the things that are really cool about you. When you have an idea of this gift, and you know what? I would even take it a step further. When you're putting this list together, what's cool about you, take some time and go ask the people that are closest to you. Go ask your spouse. Go ask a really close friend. Go ask a parent, a sibling. Go ask your children. Go ask and find the people that are closest to you and say, hey, what are some things that you notice about me that I'm really good at? Because sometimes we're just so close to it that it's really hard for us to see it. Give me 2 seconds. I got a 3-year-old right here. It's a rough day over at our house. poor, poor pom pom. It's a hard knock life. Okay, so go ask, go ask some of these individuals. Build this list out because I promise you guys, like this is the key to figuring out the fastest way to make money. Take some time to reflect. Take some time to put this list together. Understand what is cool about you. Marianne, what is dope about you? Pansy, what is one thing that is really cool about you? Bill, what is one gift that you have? Now, write this down. This is how I like to describe a gift, okay? Your gift is the thing that you do at your best with the least amount of effort. That is your gift. What is it that you do at your best with the least amount of effort? Now, when you compile this list, when you understand yourself, when you understand the things that you are good at, then really the only other question that's very simple to answer is what is the thing that I can build on that is in line with my gift. So I'll give you an example. So one of the things that I had on my list was I am really great at public speaking. One of the things that I had on my list was I can be friends with anybody. And when you think about those two things, you could probably sum up, and there were some other things that were similar on there, but you could probably sum those two things up by saying Jesse is a social butterfly. It's like, great. Okay, cool. So that's the thing that I do at my best with the least amount of effort is just, I can just be me. I can just be friends with people and I can love on people and I can support people and I can do all the like that's my gift right there. It's just, I love people. And so if I know that that's my gift, if that's the thing that I do at my best with the least amount of effort, then how do you make money just doing that? It's very, very simple. Now you look at like what are the different roles within your business. So if we're looking at real estate as an example, and we were talking about who not how a little earlier. When you look at these different roles within real estate, I mean there's so many people that are involved in purchasing a home, let alone doing it as a business. All right, you got to have appraisers that come out, you got to have contractors. Most people are using realtors. You have loan officers. You got all these stinking people that are involved. So especially it's no different than when you're building this up as a business. So for me, if I knew that that was my gift, was just being a social butterfly, then I thought, man, what is the one thing I could do? What is one role that I could take on and just do that one thing? And I thought, man, you know what? You know what I could do? I could work on just being a closer. So write this down to give you guys step by step. Okay. Remember, step one is make this list. Find out what is your gift. That is step one. Step two is what is your role? And we want to take a role that is the path of least resistance here. Pansy said, "Why is it so hard to come up with things that we're good at?" I think you guys hit the nail on the head. I think, it's because we're our own worst critic. Nobody else is harder on us than ourselves. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I am obviously no different, right? It's just we're just a bunch of humans having a human experience. That's why that's why it's so hard. And it's really easy to think that like, we're not good at anything or it's hard to come up with a list of things. And although that exercise seems really trivial, the old Jesse would have never done that exercise because I wouldn't have seen that as something of merit. I wouldn't have seen that as something that I wanted to come face to face with. I mean, who wants to just make a list of all the things they're good at? Who wants to just make a list? Because it could, like, even internally, like it feels like gloating. It feels like egotistical. And so for the longest time, like it was like, you know, doing something like that. That's something I never would have done before. But I promise you guys, if you guys take this opportunity to put this list together, like draw out a bunch of things that are just so cool about you, it's going to build your confidence. It's going to do so many things that will become a byproduct that'll serve and bring you guys opportunities, relationships, resources. And it's the person, whoever is the person that's the most resourceful, is the one that will make the most amount of money. Angel says, "I feel like you're speaking to me right now. This should be our next Fun Friday topic. I think I know what my gift is, but other people always perceive you differently than you see yourself." I 100% agree with that. So, Angel, I'm glad you brought this up. This is actually a neat little thing. Myself, Chris, Angel, and James. I don't even know where to start, man. The love that we have for each other, um, the relationship that we have between we're just a bunch of friends and come together and we spend. Angel's talking about a Fun Friday topic. We spend one day a week where during our business meeting we don't talk about business. No business allowed, and it's just fun. It's just we just talk about just our life and our kids and how are we doing personally, and just sharing small personal wins and big personal wins, and it's super cool. I agree. Let's definitely talk about this. Let's make this a Fun Friday topic next week. It's really great to do this list, to do your own list, and then have somebody else give you perspective as well. Because it allows you to see so much more about yourself and acknowledge so much more about yourself than you typically would. There are things that each one of you guys are so good at that you do it so well and you don't even realize that that's a gift. You don't just because of who you are. There are things that each one of you guys do that is so good. You guys are so good at it. You just wake up just because it's you. Just because you are you. You do it better than anybody else, but for you it's like putting on a pair of pants or brushing your teeth. So you don't even think about it. You don't even acknowledge it as a gift. It's not even something that you would write down, but to somebody else being able to see from the outside looking in, like, my goodness. I've told Angel that before. Angel and I have been on Zooms and calls. I'm like, Angel, my gosh, like, do you see this? Like, do you see this? I hope you do. Each one of you guys have things that you guys do. It's like a thumbprint. It's just unique to you. Nobody else can replicate it. And that's such a neat and cool thing. Put this list down and then figure out a role. So for me being a social butterfly, I just like talking to people. I was like, man, you know what? I should be a closer. That's what I'm going to focus on. And when Chris and I got together, we kind of did something similar where, and this is something really cool, especially if you guys are looking for business partners, looking to find somebody that you can team up with, whatever it is. A lot of times people get stuck because they found somebody that they want to partner with. They don't know why they're going to partner with them. They don't know. All they know is that this person seems cool and it might be a good idea for me to partner with them. And then when you guys end up partnering, the next question of conversation is, what should our roles be? And that didn't happen for Chris and I. And it was really cool how it happened for us. And so I want to share that with you guys real quick. For those of you guys that are looking for other people to do business with, for other people to partner with, the question you need to be asking yourself when you guys come together isn't, what's my role and what's your role? The best and easiest way that I have found to figure out what your roles isn't to ask that question. That's the wrong question to ask. What should your role be and what should your role be? Who's going to oversee what? Like, that's the wrong question to ask. The question you need to be asking is, what is your gift? What are you good at? What skills do you bring to the table? And for me and Chris was like, we both said a bunch of stuff. And then ultimately it came down to, I'm really good at negotiating. And I was like, dope. I'm really good at negotiating. Let's both just call sellers. And so that's what we ended up doing. We had two visionaries that came together, and the topic of conversation wasn't, what is your role? What are you going to oversee in the business? And what am I going to oversee? It was, what are you good at? Chris was like, closing deals. I'm like, great, dope. Okay, cool. Me too. So let's do that then. Let's do that. Let's make that the thing that we do. So why closing, and let me bring this correlation in here for a second. If I know that my natural gift is just being a social butterfly, just talking to people, then the way that I monetize that gift is stepping into the role of just closing deals. Like, path of least resistance here. Those two things go hand in hand. Because in order to close deals, I've got to be able to build rapport with people, right? I've got to be able to create a friendship, as much as you can, with somebody over the phone. I've got to know, not only what to say, but what not to say. So for me, that was the path of least resistance because I just got to be me. The only other skills that I had to build on top of that were things that complemented what I was already good at, with talking to people. I just needed to understand sales a little bit better. And contrary to popular belief, sales is not what you see when you walk onto the dealership. Sales is not, you give me this price or I'm walking. It's not what sales is. Sales is much more strategic and artful than that. And so I started building up these skills that complemented what my gift already was. I didn't have to go learn these new skills. Okay. That's the correlation that I'm trying to build here for you guys. When you have a list of all your gifts, all the things that you're good at, then taking the path of least resistance is just finding what's the thing that you can do and just go serve a bunch of people with it. Like that needs to be your complete agenda. How can I take this and step into a role where basically I'm just doing the same thing. I'm doing something that I do every single day just because I'm me. Now I just need to learn these other skills that complement it, right? So like telling stories as an example. Like that is a skill. So I started learning and educating myself on how to tell appropriate stories. What makes up a story? What makes a good story? What separates this story from a bad story, a good story from a bad story? What does negotiation really mean? If it's not simply just putting out a price and staying and saying, you give this to me or I'm walking, then what is negotiation? What does sales really mean? How does sales differentiate from what I thought sales actually was? So as I started to understand these things, I took the path of least resistance and I was like, oh, this is the role I can step into. And then I just made a list of some of the other skills that I needed to build that weren't something different, right? Because that's what most people do. Most people have no idea what their gifts are. They don't take the time to acknowledge what their gifts are, what the path of least resistance is. They just start up a business and then they're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this and 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 I have to do this. And I don't know how to do any of it. So now I've got to go learn all of it. And that's 100% the completely wrong way to go about it, guys. Okay. Learn what your gift is. Take some time to learn about you. What is cool about you? And then in this whole thing of real estate, there are so many roles. What role for you is the path of least resistance? Once I understood that Chris and I were just going to close deals and we were going to make that the one thing that we do, it didn't just stop there because now I had to build my day around doing that one thing. If I wanted to become the Michael Jordan of closing deals, it was something I had to be consistent at. It was something that I had to build. So now my day included, 3 hours of calling sellers. My day included reading books about negotiation and persuasion and sales and storytelling. My day included Zooms that I would do with other people that were closers or learning how to be closers. So we would do role plays. My day included I would listen to my recordings. So those 2 or 3 hours of calling that I would do, I would set time aside, set 45 minutes aside every single day and just going back and listening to recordings, listening to where I messed up, listening to objections that sellers had and me not knowing how to overcome them, and me going back and listening to those things. And in addition to reading all of this material about how to sell and how to ask the right questions and all these things, you can see how for me doing that stuff wasn't work. I never looked at that at work. At no point during my day did I ever sit down and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to read a book about sales today. Or oh my gosh, I've got to go back and listen into my recordings today. Like it didn't. Now, if I had been doing lead generation or if I had been doing my own paperwork or anything like that, like, oh my gosh, it would have been like pulling teeth for me. Have to sit down and understand all of these contracts and what the different legalities and the various states and counties are. And oh my gosh, like that would have been like pulling teeth. Like, get me out of here. I don't want to do paperwork. So if any of you guys resonate with that, that's how you avoid getting into that trap of just feeling exhausted and like nothing is working, because I get it. We're humans having a human experience. You're not going to feel motivated and you shouldn't want to do everything or need to do everything. So Chris and I, as a byproduct of us just asking the question, what are we good at? And then going and serving a bunch of people with that, once things like paperwork or finding buyers or anything like that, once those problems came up, it kind of organically just came together. We were like, oh, well, this needs to get done. Do we do this or do we just bring somebody else in to do this? And through just taking action by asking the question, what is our gift? What are we good at? And just taking action on that. It was a much more organic way of understanding what our roles were going to be and what we were going to take ownership of inside the business. So, those are some of the things I just wanted to share with you guys today. I wanted to give you guys kind of a deep dive, some context behind understanding like how to make money from just one thing. Understanding what is your one thing. But in order to do that, if you really want to take the path of least resistance, which that's the path that most successful people take. They're not over here trying to grind. They're not working. They're not going up a backwards escalator. And if you're doing that, then stop it. Because simply just hustling longer, hustling harder, hustling longer isn't that's not the key. Okay, take some time and understand what is cool about you. What are your gifts? When you understand what those things are, when you understand what the thing is that you do at your best with the least amount of effort, how does that correlate into a role? Something that you can do to build on. Where when you start to build those skills, because we want to go into this becoming the Michael Jordan of that one thing, right? You will never have a problem making money for the rest of your life. If you are the Michael Jordan of closing real estate deals, do you think you would ever have a problem finding somebody who needs your help? No. If you are the Michael Jordan of TCs, like Angel Miller and Chris James are, and Pamtastic and their entire crew, they will never have a problem because they know all the types of paperwork to use. They know all the legalities across the various states and counties and cities. They are truly a white glove, full service TC business. And that's why everybody goes to them because they've been able to funnel and channel the things that they're naturally good at into something that is the path of least resistance for them. If you are the Michael Jordan of generating leads, if you took the time, if that was your thing that correlated with your gift, if you were somebody who loved to sift through data and sit behind a computer, and it was like, dude, like if I could just do this and make a ton of money, like I would, then maybe that's something you want to look at. Maybe understanding if you were the Michael Jordan of generating leads, like out of everybody, you had the best leads and everybody knew it. Do you think you would ever have a problem for the rest of your life making money? No. So, whatever your role is, you can start to see for me, as I wanted to become the Michael Jordan of closers, and I started doing all these things from listening to recordings and role playing and calling sellers and educating myself. Like that's how my day was made up. I mean, boom, there's a 6 hour day right there. And that was when I had a W 2. That was in addition to my W 2. So you can see if you truly want to do great things, even if you're focused on one thing and you're doing it to the best of your ability, you have an entire day gone. You literally don't have time. If you're a closer, you don't have time to be worried about generating leads. You don't have time to be worried about how you're going to organize the CRM and what CRM you're going to use and how to streamline and automate and all these things. If you're a closer, you don't have time to be worried about paperwork or finding buyers, like none of those things. If you're trying to become the Michael Jordan, you don't have time to worry about any of those things. And that's where the who, not how comes in. If you are somebody who is relentless, if you are somebody who will do anything and everything it takes to be successful, to include waking up and grinding it out on the weekends, not taking a day off simply just because it's the weekend, you will never have a problem making money. Here's the really cool thing, and I'll end it on this. Your mind is like a rubber band. And when a rubber band stretches beyond its original shape and it continues stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching, and then you let it go, and then you stretch it again, and then you let it go, and then you stretch and you stretch and you stretch and you stretch and you stretch that rubber band again. When you take the time to work on yourself, when you take the time to understand what your gifts are and how to build on them and what to focus on, your mind does this really cool thing where, just like a rubber band, when you stretch beyond its original shape, when you stretch beyond what it's used to, your mind, your brain will never go back to its original shape. Now, why is that cool? When you start to understand more about yourself and about people, and you start to increase the standards in which you operate at, the accountability, the habits, all those things are things that stretch your mind. And when your mind stretches like a rubber band, like I said, it will never go back to its original shape ever for the rest of your life. Now, think about this. Here's the correlation I'm trying to make here. When your mind stretches, when you are pushing boundaries and limits and getting uncomfortable and taking on more responsibility, when you experience more anxiety, like all these things, you decide to take that on and you don't give up, your mind does not go back to its original shape. The way that it fires and functions, even on the inside, like the neuroscience behind it, like everything, like it physically changes when this happens. As a byproduct of your mind expanding, you're going to make more money. Now, once you figure out how to consistently make $10,000 in your business, once you have figured that out, guess what? Your mind has expanded. That now becomes your new identity. That now becomes who you are. You are the person that is capable of producing $10,000 a month whenever you want. Because you've gone beyond your limits enough, you've expanded enough to know how to take your talents to the marketplace and to serve other people in a way that produces that type of monetary gain. When you make your first $20,000 a month, same thing happens. That now becomes your new identity. When you make $50,000 a month, when you make $100,000 a month, that becomes your new identity. That becomes your new minimum operating level. When you wake up every single day, okay, as soon as that happens, when you wake up every single day, that's who you are. You are now somebody who is capable of making six figures a month. Like I said, that could be six figures a month, it could be 20,000 a month, it could be $10,000 a month. That becomes your new identity. That becomes who you are. And here's the really cool part. No matter what happens for the rest of your life, no matter if you go bankrupt, no matter if you lose your house, no matter if you lose your job, if you are the type of person that can produce 10 grand a month or 50 grand a month or 100 grand a month or more, that's who you are as a person. Your mind has stretched. That is your new identity. You understand how to be valuable enough in the marketplace to produce that kind of monetary result. And nobody can ever take that. You can have all these things happen to you. And at no point in your life, for the rest of your life, will you ever think, oh my gosh, I just got fired and I need to go get a job at Lowe's. At no point is that thought ever going to come across your head for the rest of your life. Because that 10 grand a month, that 30 grand a month, that 50 grand a month, that 100 grand a month, that is your new minimum operating. That is who you are, and nobody can ever take that away. So when you guys are thinking about this, when you guys think about everything that I've given you today, can you really afford to not be doing this? Can you afford to not take this seriously? Can you afford to not put this list together? Can you afford to leave this podcast today and not go ask somebody else that's closest to you, hey, what is my gift? What is it that I do at my best with the least amount of effort? What's cool about me? Most people overestimate what they can do in the short term. Most people think in 2 weeks they should have a Lamborghini. They think in 90 days that they should own 1 million houses. And because they don't, in 90 days, they let their foot off the pedal. They let their foot off the gas. And they end up in a very similar position 12 months into the future. If people would just most people underestimate what they can do in the long term. I promise you, what I'm giving you guys today, you can't afford to not do it. If you're serious about it and you take action on it, I see some of you guys in the comments like, I would love to connect with more like-minded winners. Love that, Augustin. I think that's probably one of the best things that anybody could do. Because when you take that type of intention and you bring that around other winners, you become a person of resource. And like we said, it doesn't take money to make money, guys. It takes resources. And if you are that person, you will never have a problem making money. Okay. That's all I've got for you guys today. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday so far. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great weekend. If there's anything that I can do for you guys, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to be a resource for you. Okay. Love you guys. We'll talk with you guys soon.